Hey guys, welcome back. So I've been pretty lapsed with my movie reviews lately. I've been doing a lot of anime reactions and trailer reactions and things. So I've kind of made it a point to get more movie reviews back up on my movie review channel. So continuing on with my Rambo retrospective, I just picked up and watched Rambo Part 4 on 4K Blu-ray, HDR, beautiful film. This looks good. So I also watched the extended cut, which had a few more character beats in there and a bit more of the relationship between Rambo and Julie Benz's character. But overall, really good. The only other change I also noticed was the title of the film. So on the cover here, it's called Rambo. It's part 4 of the First Blood saga. But in the title credits of the movie itself, it come up John Rambo. So I knew that's what they're actually calling the film when they're making it. So yeah, in the title sequence itself, John Rambo come up there on screen. So this one is now John Rambo, which is fun because all the movies have been called Rambo from part 2. So it got a little bit confusing. There was First Blood, then Rambo, First Blood Part 2, then Rambo 3, and then Rambo 5, which came out last year. So going over this film, yeah, it was sick. It's definitely one of the better Rambos. For me, that first film, First Blood, was incredible. It's iconic. It's a classic. And then Part 2 I had a real lot of fun with. Part 3 was a bit hit or miss, but Part 4 was definitely a return to form. It was violent, and it definitely felt like a Rambo film. So he's a lot older in this one. This film was made in 2008, and Rambo 3 was filmed in 1988. So it's been a long time since the previous sequel, because Part 3 sucked. Kind of killed the franchise dead. So Stallone decided to resurrect Rambo and bring him back and give him a really good send-off, much like he did with the Rocky saga. Rocky 5 killed the franchise, then he brought Rocky back with Rocky Balboa, and that was a marvelous send-off for that character. So for this one, yeah, he decided to do the same thing. Never mind the fact that we did get Part 5 just recently, but we won't discuss that one yet. So what did I like about this one? God, it was fun. It is a balls-to-the-wall, rock'em sock'em action film straight out of the 80s. Stallone wrote and directed this one as well, so he really knows the character, and I don't know how hard it is to direct a film and act in it at the same time, but he does a wonderful job. Sure, Rambo, the character, doesn't have a lot to say, and he's pretty vocal in this one, let's just say that right away. He does have a few lines more than normal, but just getting that nuance of giving a performance and also directing that performance and concentrating on your other cast members as well would be no easy feat. So bearing that in mind, I think he does a really great job with this film. So the basic plot of this one, and I'll read it from the Internet Movie Database. In Thailand, John Rambo joins a group of mercenaries to venture into war-torn Burma and rescue a group of Christian aid workers who are kidnapped by the ruthless local infantry unit. So what this movie does really well is set up the bad guys beautifully. These horrible soldiers are just murderous, evil bastards, and they're terrorizing the locals and murdering them, and it's quite horrible. So you really know who the bad guys are right away. And with that conflict building, the emergence of John Rambo when he finally cuts loose and starts getting some retaliation, it is really quite satisfying. It's wonderful. The hero is always kind of determined how good he is by how bad the villain is, and in this one, yeah, the villains are really evil. So Stallone did kind of base this in reality as well. Burma has been a war zone for a long time, but I won't go into the political machinations of that. But he did kind of get a grounded sense of reality from real world politics and really horrible situation, and just kind of thrown Rambo right into the thick of it. So the special effects in this movie also are pretty phenomenal. Like, it is violent. This movie really shows you what heavy artillery does to a body. I don't know how they did the special effects, but god damn it, there is a lot of viscera in this one. There's a lot of blood, a lot of red stuff, heads, arms, everything's dismembered at one point. A lot of people blowing up. It's great. It's fun. Like, definitely has that sense of reality to it. So First Blood was kind of very grounded in reality as well. Part 2 and Part 3 were definitely over the top. Rambo, the one-man army taking on the whole nation. So Part 4, although Rambo is still like a one-man army, it was much more grounded, which I really appreciated. The story is really quite good. So Sylvester Stallone returns as John Rambo, and he was marvelous in the role. He just owns Rambo now. And he was joined by Julie Benz as Sarah. So the reason he wanted her hired is because he was a fan of Dexter, and she was also in Angel. So I was happy to see Julie Benz here. Been a big fan of Darla for years. Matthew Marsden and Graham McTavish also star. Yeah, there's no Academy Awards for acting in this film, but everyone was quite competent. And the story, though very simple, is really, really engaging. And the character of Rambo was really true to the tone from that first film. I loved what he did with this one. It was just such a massive step up. So for me, First Blood is the best one. Rambo 2 is a lot of fun, so it's pretty high up there too, just because it's so over the top and silly, but it's just awesome. And then Part 4 is definitely head and shoulders above Part 3. Part 3 has its moments, but it's really kind of silly. But Part 4, man, I had a really good time with it. So I saw this movie in theaters in 2008 when it came out. Man, 12 years ago. I remember going to the movie and I was off work for a little while because I'd done my back. A disc slipped out, so I was in a lot of pain. And it was one of my good days. I was feeling okay, but I was just bored shitless being at home. Like I'd been off for like 3 or 4 months. So I just really needed to get out and do something. And I knew Rambo film was out, so I was super keen. So I went to watch this movie, and I can just remember being so uncomfortable and sore during the whole run of the film. Like the movie chairs are not conducive for proper posture, and my back was just like the pain from my lower back down to my legs, like my sciatic nerve was hit. Dude, I was not happy. But I enjoyed the movie so much, so I always kind of retain that memory from my first viewing, being absolutely miserable but loving it. So the 4K version of this film, yeah, so I've got this on Blu-ray as well. And the 4K version, Supremo, man. There's so much detail in this. It's crazy good, and the HDR doesn't really showcase the colors a lot, although there are a few explosions of blood, so the red really does stand out quite a bit with that. There's a lot of night scenes in this one, so those dark inky colors are wonderful. You can see every detail. Some scenes are in rain. You can literally pause it and count all the raindrops. It just looks crystal clear, and the explosions through my surround sound speakers, the sound was incredible too. So 4K, yeah, this is a really good uptick for that. So do I recommend you go and pick up Rambo Part 4? Are you a fan of the franchise? If you are, definitely pick it up. You got the original trilogy, which have been the trifecta for years, but this one is a real return to form. Part 4, I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of this, and picking up on 4K was just, yeah, no-brainer. It's sick. It's a great movie. Well done. Anyway, I've watched Part 5, so I'll discuss that in my next review. But until then, catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.